Hello everybody, and welcome back for FlyQuest vs Team Liquid. With the rise of Twitch Yuumi in the meta, which FlyQuest used just yesterday, I think it's the perfect time to revisit some classic literature. The Cat on the Rat, written by Dr. aphromoo with illustrations by our own Emily Rand. Let's begin. CLG was 3-0, but Fly came to play. The Cat on the Rat were their picks on that day. Heals and peels, speed ups and slows. Even when invisible, she goes where he goes. A Q left the brush, and the cat bopped and blocked. CLG tried to flash, but Luger still got dropped. The cat will spoon feed the rat to get fat, but sometimes in the mid game, the combo falls flat. So aphromoo said to his young bot lane carry, just get to 4 items, we'll show them Tom and Jerry. And when Contract stepped up, the rat sprayed and he prayed, and the cat's final chapter kept all the danger at bay. In the final team fight, the rat flanked to the side, while the cat with the monkey made sure CLG died. And that is how Fly achieved their dream, with a cat on a rat to beat an undefeated team. I love that book. As for me, well, FlyQuest, I tip my hat, but personally, I hope someone kills that cat on the rat.
Amazing content.
Absolutely brilliant, brilliant dramatic reading.
Best part of it is that cover
of the very famed and very well-known Cat on the Rat by Dr. aphromoo and illustrated by. Can we get a close-up of this? Emily drew this morning. We showed up for our read-through to go through stuff for the day, and Emily's just casually drawing this, cutting it out, and putting it all together in the moment. Absolutely spectacularly done.
Thank you.
Mark, you have a career as a children's, at least as a children's book reader.
Not my kids.
That much, I'll tell you that.
At least I proved that.
Not Raz's
At least
kids.
I proved I could read.
You can read. I'm proud of you for that. We put it to you though, out on Twitter. What should Yuumi Twitch be called? And the verdict is in. It's Tom and Jerry. And honestly, I'm with you, Twitter. I think you've landed on it. It is Tom and Jerry. That is the nostalgic A+ in my book.
I'm not going to go by the result of these.
I'm a more well-cultured person. Better cultured person.
You're a what?
Oh, God, let's move on.
You're a what now?
You're a what?
I like the Catatouille, all right? I'm a fan of
Catatouille is exquisite.
It's a good
exquisite.
option.
It's a dark horse
There
for
we go.
sure. All right, well, there you have it. Let's talk about FlyQuest and moving into the matchup today, because as they were able to get the victory with the Cat on the Rat just yesterday, I think it's a question of, how do they further that success here today? We're going to start, though, in the mid lane, because it's a huge mid lane matchup. Toucouille has long been talked about for FlyQuest success from spring to summer, but we're going to get a word from him on what it's like to face off against some veteran mid laners.
I think I learned a lot from Bjergsen. I learned a lot in general from like a veteran player, like Maple, for example. I learned a lot playing against them and watching sometimes the Champions Q game, how they communicate. I definitely learned a lot against these kind of players, because yeah, they've just been around for so much and they know so much that you can just steal some of their skills.
Toucouille versus Bjergsen. Bjergsen did fall down for the first time in summer just yesterday, and we did begin some discussions earlier today in waiting room about, like, okay, now what's the assessment of Team Liquid? How quick are people going to be, to jump away from this? They look unstoppable, they look unbeatable, kind of version of Team Liquid to what they are now at 3-1.
I mean, I think if anything, we've shown that like best of ones, anything can kind of happen.
Yeah.
TSM looked so good yesterday, just struggled in game 1, and so for Team Liquid, yeah, it sucks you lost that game yesterday, but I don't think their dominance should be questioned. I think it's just about get back up on the horse, bounce back, and try and take down FlyQuest.
And this matchup's really interesting too, because like, not only you're right, I agree, like Team Liquid should still be the heavy favorites here. You're gonna slip up in a best of one circumstance, but like, I'm interested in this matchup. It's All Pro 1 versus All Pro 2. Like, these were our 2 best players in this previous split. And Bjergsen, still, like, the criticisms there is because we have seen him in the past just be, like, head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the competition. That hasn't been the case this time around, but at the beginning of the split, he has just been untouchable. And we would have came into this segment talking about how he's been unkillable if it wasn't for the death that happened just yesterday.
Yeah.
But still, like, kudos to him having such a monstrous performance at the beginning of this split.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's the TSM loss from yesterday, but I think looking at these mids is really interesting given how TL said that they want to play through bot lane. You know, Bjerg has been roaming down there a lot more often. Previously, I think he roamed topside a lot more in spring. And then for me, for FlyQuest, we talked to Josedeodo on the desk yesterday where he's like, anyone can beat anyone, but it's still definitely about the mid-jungle duo for them. Like, I still think that everything that FlyQuest wants to do, as much as we talked about the cat and the rat, really starts with them.
All right, well, as we get ready to head into draft, FlyQuest has a helpful PSA for all of the casters. Let's take a look.
Toucouille,
Toucouille also. Toucouille.
Toucoil, Toucouille, Toucouille, Takuwa, Toucouille, 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 Took Nasty. Taken starring Liam Neeson.
Thank you very much, FlyQuest. I will admit I have indeed struggled with the pronunciation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to see you again. I'm Captain Flowers. I'm here with Jatt and Azael. Jatt, it has been years since you and I casted together, and Isaac, it was at least yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, it's been like 24 hours, maybe.
But it's been too long for both of us, I think. Everyone always wants to be casting with Captain Flowers 24/7.
Who doesn't want to be casted with Jatt, man? Come on, you're one of the OGs. Well, let's get into it. We got the three of us here. We also got the literal world champion back again to bless us with this incredible cranium of knowledge. Now, I'm ready for this, because, wait, what do you mean, what the heck? Come on. We gotta build each other up here.
Incredible cranium of knowledge.
Yeah, sounds like an item you try to get an Elden Ring or something.
Oh, there you go, I like
I'd
it.
go on a side quest for that. But now, let's go on a quest for Team Liquid versus FlyQuest. Team Liquid wanting to bounce back from a loss yesterday against TSM. FlyQuest sitting on 2-2, man. They would love to tie Team Liquid in the standings here.
I personally just got very confused because I believe my client dropped out of this draft and I didn't know we were started yet. But
I think it'll still get in the game. This happened to me yesterday.
I think I will be able to, but yeah, I'm just excited to see these two teams go up against each other. Interestingly enough, they were 1-1 against each other in spring, and Josedeodo did not seem afraid of Team Liquid's reputation yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, talking to a lot of different players, a lot of different coaches, people are saying they think this is the closest the league has been in a long time between the top and the bottom. There's not a tremendous amount separating these teams. They are feeling like they can overcome these top teams.
Yeah, even in waiting room today, Mark, myself, and Raz had to just on the spot predict a top three. We all picked a different top three in a different first place in 4 different teams throughout it, so it's going to be a really interesting split.
Well, we've got our first part of the bans all said and done. It's Jace, Yuumi, Ahri, Volibear, Lucian, and Twisted Fate all removed, and TL gets first pick.
Also really interesting to see how few marksmen were actually banned out this time. You know, we've been seeing 4+ marksmen banned out almost every single game. You know, Zeri available, Senna available, Kalista available, all on the table. Zeri's going to be grabbed on one side. I wonder if FlyQuest would be willing to go towards a Senna-style comp, which has been super high prio, but not necessarily for them. Yesterday, they did go towards the Twitch. Yuumi is not available as the pairing, but that's something that they've now played twice, and Johnsun has looked quite comfortable on it.
I don't necessarily think the Twitch would work without the Yuumi, but never say never with this one. It would make the laning phase definitely something that Zeri is going to try and punish, and they're going for it.
And I think you can go like Twitch Lulu. I think other enchanters work really well with it. You know, I do think that obviously there's a lot of power in that specific combo, but clearly comfortable, willing to go towards it, does have incredibly good scaling. And honestly, ever since the durability update, Twitch's laning phase is much harder to punish, which is one of those things that helps you get to those later spikes.
Yeah. Get to the 3 items, get to Runaan's, get to the team fight cannon stage where you can delete everybody in a couple of seconds. But if we're talking about team fighting, we saw how Twitch can work together really well with Wukong yesterday. We got to see the Yuumi, of course, was involved in that as well. But Wukong's been popular in the jungle for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, actually comparing yesterday's draft for FlyQuest to today's draft, CLG first picked the Zeri, FlyQuest answered with Yuumi Wukong, but then Twitch on 3. So in terms of champions in the game right now, it is a spitting image of what happened for them yesterday.
As close as it could be. Right?
Take the Lulu away.
Yeah, it's really actually interesting. So they're going to grab the Lulu themselves as a takeaway. You're expecting for sure it's going to core. I've seen a tiny bit of Enchanter's mid lane, but I'm not expecting that to actually be the case. Now we have to see, is FlyQuest going to grab their own support, or are they going to, kind of have different attempts here, try to look towards a solo laner?
Rakan comboed here with Wukong.
Really good
Ton of engage here for these guys.
Definitely needing to gank that lane and have a numbers advantage, because I believe the Zeri Lulu will be able to push up. It's also a slightly different look for Team Liquid. So even though CoreJJ did win a world championship playing Enchantress in 2017, in his time in NA, he's almost exclusively found success with hard engaged support. So even though he's a great laner on Enchantress, it's a much different style of what CoreJJ can do on the map after the laning phase.
And it makes me wonder, is Bwipo going to bring engage? Because right now they don't really have any, right? That hasn't really been the meta for mid laners. So, are you going to be going something like a blind Ornn along those lines? If you are, you'd want to ban out things like the Fiora, potentially even the GP, which has been pretty high prio. But I feel like TL are going to probably want that, unless they're happy to just kind of play it slow and look to kind of kite back and forth, utilize the pillars and the Zeri speed.
Well, it is FlyQuest banning towards some of those more ferocious top laners here, with the Mordekaiser being taken off the table. You can see the Corki banned out by TL, so they don't want to have to deal with that mid lane presence. They're focusing more on that other solo lane instead of the top side.
I'd say with the Lulu as well, like even if it's not hard engaged, just Lulu Olaf would still be good. Bwipo has played top lane Olaf twice. It can really allow them to run down Twitch, and it is unbanned. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw that pick on the 4-5 for Bwipo.
Well, we do see the Ornn banned away by FlyQuest there, so eliminating one of those big engage options like you're talking about, making sure that Team Liquid can't just default to one of those most powerful options for that. 10 seconds left. Does TL also want to look towards the top lane, or are they just going to double ban towards mid here instead? Come on, guys, what's it going to be here? Running down the clock. All right, Corki is here taken out. So of those big three control mages, only Victor remains.
Well, I think this is kind of a nod to toucouille as a player, right? He is such a strong carry force for FlyQuest. Philip, if you're less concerned about him, maybe you don't feel like you need to actually spend those bans on him.
Yep.
Also think that it's more likely to counterpick top lane, as that's been the general style for LCS since the teleport changes. And that's a locked-in LeBlanc there for... How FlyQuest tell us to say it?
Toucouille.
Toucouille.
I think. I'm from a cornfield. My French pronunciation is not going to be good no matter how many times I try, but I'll give it the best darn try that I can. Let's see how TL wants to respond. It will be Gangplank up there in the top lane. One of those champions that you named, thinking about like, hey, maybe this is going to be one of those things to bust up something like a tank or whatever. Well, it's Team Liquid taking it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, GP is really strong as far as like adding additional slows. If you are going to try to play that sort of a style where you are looking more for kite, you can play weak side pretty comfortably, drop ults down towards bot. You have the GP ulti slow, you have speed ups, from the Zeri, from the Lulu, Trundle slows as well. Swain would be really interesting here and would give them at least a little bit of pseudo engage. You can fish with the E. It's also incredibly strong against dive comps. So I think he's seeing Wukong, he's seeing Rakan, he's seeing LeBlanc, he's saying, you're gonna come at me. And that is where Swain is really at its strongest. I do think it's an incredibly strong mid laner. What will be the answer, though, for Philip is really going to tell us a lot about, are they fully committing to the dive, or are they going to have a little bit of split push in the comp, look for something a bit different?
Okay, it's more go in, right? Aatrox, Wukong, Rakan, everybody's going in like this. And although Team Liquid, they're limited in engage options, and by limited, I mean, it's pretty much a Swain claw. But the disengage, the zone control, if you try to dive onto barrels, onto Trundle Pillar, onto Swain's ulti and Lulu, it's tough.
Yeah, and also trying to think about how Team Liquid would try and achieve victory with this team composition. It's winning lanes, getting set up first on an objective, and then poking and waiting for FlyQuest to come into them. It's still, you can still play up-tempo with champions who don't have engage if you're strong enough in laning phase.
And I think TL have more of an ability to play like a 1-4 split. LeBlanc can go to sides to try to answer GP, but because FlyQuest drafted Aatrox is much more of a team fighting champion. You can get advantages in lane, but you generally bring that to the 5v5. I think the Swain is incredibly strong, and it feels like Bjergsen called the bluff a little bit that they weren't going to go towards a Fiora, weren't going to go towards something that is more of a hard commit towards sides where he could have struggled. Because FlyQuest needs to dive. It's 4 champions that are going forward into you. And Swain is so damn powerful in those situations.
Especially with the way he can just keep refreshing the ulti now
permanent
over and
if
over and
someone's in
over
range.
again. As long, like I've seen the clips where they just throw him into a bunch of target dummies in the fountain and he can't die. So hey, I'm looking forward to seeing how Bjergsen plays it. I want to see if Team Liquid bounces back or if FlyQuest can keep on trucking in this one, get themselves up to a tied record if they beat TL here. Let's do it.
That would be quite the shocking start for FlyQuest if they could tape down Team Liquid. And also a disaster week for Liquid if they dropped to TSM and FlyQuest, but they are definitely the heavy favorites going into this one.
Absolutely. Taking a look at what we've got across the board here will be the grasp up there on Gangplank. No first strike on him this time. We've got ourselves PTA on Trundle. Everything's pretty similar there. Ignite versus Teleport there in the mid lane, so it is going to have some summoner spell discrepancy there in terms of late game rotations, just general macro play with Bjergsen having the advantage. Down in bottom, Exhaust versus Cleanse. They're on the AD carries, Ignite on both supports. So Johnsun really trying to pay respect towards some of that CC. Does not want to get grabbed by a Swain Claw and immediately blown up.
Yeah, Polymorph also, really concerning. Exhaust really concerning. It's like Twitch, you have to be hyper powerful during your ultimate. Like that is where almost all of your kind of bills get paid, so to speak.
Power
so
budget,
having Cleanse is really, really valuable to make sure you're free firing during that. Also going to be really interested to see what Bjergsen actually builds here. There are kind of two schools of thought. Leandri's is more individual power. If you feel that you're going to be playing heavily with your team, the Rylai's Mandate build is really, really strong. Being able to actually proc, get the move speed, get the slowdown, really stay in on top of people. But that does rely on your teammates to be able to proc those little bursts of damage that do also give you that move speed. So it will be interesting to see if he wants to build for that.
Yeah, it would also make him a little bit more vulnerable in side lanes, since typically, especially in pro, you're needing to play more side lanes, although last game was an exception to that where they had the Mundo going side and they put a Blaze all of mid on Corki, but we'll definitely be looking forward to seeing Bjergsen.
A little bit of cheese.
Yeah. Oh, and a very little bit.
Sidestep.
Yeah, didn't work out too well. All right, nothing more to it. I like the fact that they at least went for a little bit of something, but yep, FlyQuest being ready for that, stepping away from the bullets there. Hansama finds just a little bit of extra trading. Both of our junglers starting off on the top side of the map, so they will be pathing towards this bottom area. We'll see if anybody can make anything happen early on or if they get into a fight over the crab.
I really like how TL's bot lane was playing that, though. They're trying to actually zone them off XP, right? They're using the Q from Zeri, just spamming it out, trying to keep them off of that ranged XP. Very clearly, TL will have the push in the 2v2, but they're trying to get them to deny some of this experience. I'm not quite sure if Fly's bot lane got all of the XP. Either way, the wave is going to crash. It's just going to be about how much can you pick up as this does come to you under the tower. 3 Relic Shield charges should make it so that FlyQuest can get most of it. If any are at awkward health, you expect Afro to use a charge.
Yeah, and also you can see in this triple screen, this is what you refer to as 2 lanes of prio. So top lane prio for GP against Aatrox, bot lane prio for Lulu and Zeri. But Bjergsen is pushed in by LeBlanc. So when you're thinking about, like back when Crab was a little bit more valuable still now, you're trying to figure out who can actually collapse on me with Crab. And with the mid lane being in the side of FlyQuest and the bot lane being in the side of TL, that bot Crab is still contestable for both teams.
Well, we do see both of those crabs about to spawn here as the waves are getting cleared out a bit. You can see Philip and Johnsun have both finally got back out from underneath the turrets. They're farming up. But let's see who goes to the crabs first. We are going to get both junglers showing up. Santorin walking into the Drake pit. Likely to have to flash out of this one. Santon fights. CoreJJ coming in to try to save him. The flash follow. Santorin stuck around too long. Greed is a deadly sin for Team Liquid. CoreJJ flashing back into the pit, trying to get away. toucouille's coming up from the other side.
Gotta
Can we
land
get a chain? Can we stop him? He's got the
They
chain.
got him.
CoreJJ thrown up into the air, and the money goes to Josedeodo.
Oh, that is huge for FlyQuest. They get first blood on a Johnsun and the double buffs onto the Twitch here. Philip getting really low, and his wave is quite awkward. He's got to pay respect. If you get hit by another barrel, flash auto Q, and you're dead with the passive. Philip has the base, but his wave is screwed, so he's not wanting to, but he's going to have to TP back and try to fix this wave.
And it's really hard for Jose to go back up there to help him, but to talk about that play in the bottom lane, a very heady play by aphromoo to be able to be first on this play. So they knew they had the mid prio through LeBlanc, so LeBlanc could move down through mid, but you can see aphromoo just dips into the jungle. Santorin is expecting his bot lane to be there first, which is why the mid prio doesn't matter. Then aphromoo shows up, and he immediately has to move.
And Santorin could have actually just flashed out instantly and lived, but they decided, clearly they made the call. No, Core's gonna be here. We can actually win this fight because we have bot prio. But they lose track of the fact that toucouille's coming down. Santorin has lost too much health by the time that he flashes over. Flashes into the waiting arms there of Johnsun, giving over first blood and double buffs. So, you know, misreading that situation, a great roam from Afro, really punishing TL hard.
And the icing on the cake is the first blood and the double buffs went to Twitch, who was the champion who most needs the farm and was most disadvantaged by the early laning phase. So the perfect outcome for FlyQuest.
And again, I'm going back to looking at the fact that Santorin could have got away over the wall so easily. It was Team Liquid making the call, saying we can outplay it, and FlyQuest just answering that skill check.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, once the Ignite is on, it's like there's no healing coming through. You know, the Lulu's not actually going to be that powerful as far as the shielding. So TL clearly underestimating the amount of damage that was going to come across, and do get punished very, very hard. Strong early lead now for FlyQuest. We'll see what they can make of that. If they want to play down towards bot side, try to look for some of those dragons if they can use mid prio for that.
Johnson's not having a great time down here against CoreJJ and Hans, as aphromoo was roaming around. You can see some vision has been placed down both in the river and in the enemy jungle, but that just means Johnsun is hanging back, farming up. That fight that happened, yes, it was 2 kills for FlyQuest, but it didn't lead to a Drake take early on or anything like that. There haven't been any other advantages coming from it. Back up here at top, Philip started to try to stand and fight against Bwipo, lands most of the combo, doesn't get the sweet spot on Q3, so loses a little bit of damage on what could have been. But honestly, just trying to fight back here against this Gangplank. And what you had already pointed out, Isaac, was not a great lane and wave state earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see. I mean, Philip now, he doesn't have level 6 yet. Bwipo has hit level 6, so you're going to have to be pretty respectful. He has no TP. If he gets dove on this is a fat wave pushing in.
Oh, no.
So Philip really needs 6 here to try to survive. But this is looking like an easy dive. We'll see how far off 6 he is.
I get it. He has 6.
Well, Philip trying to stay alive here. Oh! Flash Q3! Philip with the outplay to make it a 1-for-1.
Still a massive win for Philip there. Something about playing top lane for FlyQuest to split. You're not going to get that much help, so he needs to be able to clutch out in fights like that.
Johnsun immediately popped by Hans Sama. Team Liquid getting a kill here in the bottom lane, but Josedeodo shows up, and he's ready to go in for the Team Liquid AD carry. One more hit with the stick and point and click. CoreJJ nearly kills off aphromoo, but now he's able to get on back as Josedeodo keeps the chase alive and scares the Team Liquid support away 1-for-1 when the dust settles.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, really nice outplay here, you know, from Philip to be able to get the kill. The Q3 flash was big. You can notice how he's actually focusing on the wave, trying to get them in, spending his Qs on the wave, gets 6 here, pulls back, pops R, then Q3 flash straight in onto Bwipo, who does have the turret angle. Really well played from Philip. Unfortunately for him, he's still going to lose a lot of experience on this. The next wave even crashed, so he loses about 2.5 waves on that, and the wave will bounce. And on the other side, TL are able to get this 2v2 kill.
Yeah, and this was huge for Hans Sama and CoreJJ.
Okay.
This was also then huge for
Solo kill.
Johnson's revenge immediately after just taking out Hans Sama on the Zeri. 2-1-2 now. 4 out of 5 kill participation on the Twitch feels great.
Man, that's going to be plates as well. Like, that was a pushing wave. Actually,
so big.
You die, you know, solo kill for Hans, you know, dying with that wave pushing in. So it's at least 1 plate has already gone down there. So that's like a kill and a half going over there to Johnsun. Because of that plate plus the kill, going to deny some minions. And Johnsun is out ahead significantly over Hans here, nearly 1K in the lead just in that 1v1.
Another fight here at Rift Herald.
Yeah, we might have some problems. Team Liquid pulling away from the Herald, looking towards Bwipo now as Josedeodo runs in to steal the Herald. FlyQuest, they end up coming out with the objective, but can they get everybody away? Josedeodo flashing over the wall, not going to give him the opportunity. toucouille trying to get out of there. FlyQuest doesn't lose a man. They get what they came for. Philip needs to get out of town now with Santorin coming back up here, but that was an awesome steal from Jose.
FlyQuest is clutching up right here. So they got 1 plate and the solo kill by Twitch bottom, and then they wait until just the right time to make that Rift Herald the flip. They also engaged on Bwipo in the top lane as that was happening to make it so they couldn't get collapsed on. But we're going to watch the solo kill one more time.
Yep, he got 6 in stealth.
Hans Sama never saw him.
So you never see that he's 6, so you're not paying the respect to that. You know, queuing up, only needed the Canyon for the XP. Really well played here. Gets all the autos, kites it out well, lands the in. Bwipo now.
Bwipo eating those oranges just in time to avoid some more serious threat of death. as toucouille loses his clone here in mid lane. Bjergsen still doing just fine. Gets the claw onto aphromoo there, so gonna get a little bit of extra soul shard power out of that. We still haven't had any single Drake take just yet, despite the fact that this has been a pretty scrappy game early on. The only neutral objective is still that Herald, which is still in the inventory of Twitch. Bjergsen trying to get out. Johnsun needs a little bit more. Will that poison kill him? It's still ticking. 20, 11, 1! Dead! Holy moly! I thought he was going to live at 1.
Bjergsen messed it up, though. He actually activated the claw, which pulled Johnsun into range for an additional auto. In that situation, you know, he's going for the heal, and I think the heal would be less than the additional autos that Johnsun was able to get. You know, I think he should have hit him with the E and then just allowed him to sit there rooted and run away. It's hard to judge, though, in those situations, because when you pull the soul with the reactivation, you do get a heal. But in this case, it seemed like that was the little bit extra that Johnsun was able to need.
Johnson's Twitch is absolutely the champion to watch this game. 3-1-2, Bork is already done. The guy is making things happen.
Having that Blade of the Ruin King is just making him a menace anywhere he goes. I mean, Core has ult and flash, but he might need both.
CoreJJ trying to stay alive in this one. Johnson's gonna get exhausted. Can't find the kill just yet. Hans Sama looking for a little more damage. Santorin coming in from the side, and Johnsun is shut down. Good punish from Team Liquid.
Little bit of a caster curse. We are definitely watching the Twitch.
Yes.
Try to make plays.
As was Team Liquid.
We're watching him run into the enemy jungle and die.
A nice collapse. It's still, that doesn't give Twitch any less gold, though. He's still very accelerated in this game in comparison to the game yesterday where he still took over. Something, Azael, I wanted to talk to you about here is just like trying to figure out where the power spikes are going to hit in this one, because yesterday against COG, Twitch wasn't relevant until he had 4 items. It was like 14,000 gold. In this game, though, because he's accelerated, he's activated early. So if this game stays relatively close, who do you actually like in, like, say, like 20, 25-minute fights?
I mean, I think I like FlyQuest in the earlier stages, you know, with Twitch this far ahead. When you're this far ahead of the curve of the game, I think that it can be difficult for Swain to actually sustain through, you know, that much damage. If you can hit that critical mass where you can kind of burst through Swain, it can become very, very difficult. And Johnsun, I think, is far enough ahead that they could potentially reach that point. I'm interested to see if he's going to go Kraken, though, which is kind of the more single target damage, or if you're going to go for that 2-item spike on Hurricane.
I tend to agree with them having a slight advantage, but also because they have so much engage. So, like, aphromoo has been really on point, and LeBlanc can threaten Lulu like crazy in the mid game in terms of trying to establish vision control. So I think FlyQuest should be very happy with their current state in the game.
Well, they did manage to at least get value out of that Herald. I was starting to get a little bit concerned because the timer was getting dangerously close to 0, but they get the expected value and more, as it was about 3 plates left in this bottom lane tier 1 turret. FlyQuest were able to strong arm that one down up to a 2,000 gold lead 12 minutes into the game. They also got the first Drake, so really everything here in these early stages of the game is going their way. Yes, there's been a couple unlucky deaths there, like Johnsun wandering into the jungle. Yeah, you don't like to see that happen, but overall, going up against a team like TL and having a showing like this at 12 minutes feels great.
I mean, it is great, right? And I think people are going to have to start paying more respect to Johnson's Twitch. This is the 3rd time he's got it. This split was massive in their win yesterday. To your point, Jatt, you know, it didn't really turn on until very late, but in that final team fight, he did nearly 8,000 damage in one team fight. Like, it was a great engage, you know, from Jose, who was playing the Wukong. But the follow-up from that Twitch in the later stages, when you do get to 60% crit with IE and Hurricane, you can shred an entire team. And, you know, Blade of the Ruin King does kind of push that spike back quite a lot, but the 1-item spike is so powerful that pretty much everyone is prioritizing it these days. It also allows you to have early game sustain, you know, because you're building the vamp. That helps Twitch get through the laning phase that much easier.
Yeah, and I mean, in situations like this, where they're able to just push the mid lane so easily, and then move, it stops anyone on the side lanes from being able to push up until Twitch shows again. Because with that Blade of the Ruin King, he is like the most threatening ganker you have from the mid lane.
It's just a very scary proposition to walk into the fog where he might be waiting there. aphromoo, of course, can just dash to safety there, Trundle pillar. And this is kind of what it is with Team Liquid too. They don't have a lot of good tools to make these picks. You can throw up a Trundle pillar, but it's very easy to get away from something like that unless there's backup. Really, aside from a Swain claw, what is going to punish FlyQuest from stepping forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that is going to punish FlyQuest more than anything is if they don't have a good engage, right? If they engage for a fight and it is done poorly, then all of a sudden, Swain, Trundle, Zeri, you know, the Lulu ult comes out. You can't actually get a kill initially. It becomes very, very difficult. You're not going to be able to kite away that then from the Zeri and disengage, and if you can't actually nail that initial engage and burst down someone like the Swain or Lulu or whoever, then it can become very, very difficult. So they've got to make sure that they're on point when they do actually look for these fights.
And on that point, that'll be looking at the Wukong and the Rakan mostly. I'd say aphromoo has had a very effective game. His level is very low though. If you notice, both supports like level 6, and this is aphromoo forced. Like Lulu Zeri would dominate that 2v2 just straight up with Rakan and Twitch. So aphromoo has just left that lane. He helped get them the first blood. Also, when he pulled core away afterwards, Johnsun got 6 from invisibility and was able to get another kill. But like, it makes him a very squishy engager, but the way he got here, I think, was also very well played to prevent Zeri and Lulu from being able to get that lane advantage.
And the EXP state is still favoring FlyQuest in terms of bot lanes overall as well. You can see Johnsun level 10. Hansama was level 8 only just recently within the past couple of seconds, hit level 9. So having the advantages for that Twitch, who's also ahead thanks to the kills, making sure that he continues to stay ahead of things here. As we've got 20 seconds before the second Drake of the game spawns, will be a Hex Tech Drake. Josedeodo has the second Rift Herald already in pocket, so if FlyQuest want, they can drop that as a distraction, head over to the Drake, get a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, absolutely, and I always favor that play. You know, second Herald is generally not super useful, but just dropping it mid, getting prio there, walking down towards bot is the expected play here. The Dragon about to spawn, Herald goes down, they have the mid prio, Teal have to respond to this, you walk in the bot side river. They should be able to get this tower actually because it's already low enough, so a couple autos, then move into the bot side, and they're gonna look to try to play for both Dragon and that turret.
And it's so hard for Team Liquid to contest this, partially because they do not have engage. When we talked about the draft, we were expecting them to have an advantage in the early game, but they're just gonna try and go with slows. But how do they lock them down?
aphromoo just dashes away, makes it look easy. Yeah, Josedeodo takes a big chunk of damage, and you can see that FlyQuest, they had Jose and Aphro moving up. They were thinking, okay, maybe CoreJJ walks into the jungle trying to ward or something, and we can catch him out. But unfortunately for Fly, they're the ones who end up taking most of the damage, but it still won't matter. They've got prio, they've got control over the bot side river, and now they've got a 2-0 Drake.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the vision. You know, the observers are just showing us, you know, you look at the vision line, there's not much of anything, and now Johnsun heading up towards top side. Bjergsen does have stopwatch, and he has ulti and exhaust, so this won't be an easy kill.
Well, Johnson's still gonna go for it. Bjergsen buying time. There's your stasis. Johnsun still got the ulti ready. Contaminate's got him ticked out. Bjergsen will live through this one. The potion and the healing on the ulti was enough. And Johnsun just gets smacked to death by the troll and the pirate.
That's the one where Bjergsen bought just enough time. It wasn't the last tick of poison that kills him this time, but Johnsun sticks around, ends up using all of his summoner spells, and still falls.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, exhaust plus stopwatch are so powerful in a one fight like that. And the quick TP coming through, you know, they have the answer. They get the kill onto Johnsun, which is going to set him back quite a bit. And Bjergsen very clearly, you know, should work towards a second item. Zhonya's almost guaranteed against these hard engaged comps. It is really, really smart. Helps you to get value, you know, out of that stopwatch that you already had purchased up here as well. And Johnsun, you know, had those 3 early kills, but hasn't been able to get any more in these last couple of minutes. His farm is fine, but it's not outstanding. It's not like he's farming at, you know, 10 CS per minute here. So he has been slowed down over these last couple of minutes, and the gold lead is dwindling slightly.
Yeah, Bwipo actually the gold leader in the game now after picking up that kill. And he's also probably the one most capable of dealing with Twitch in team fights. Just pop the ultimate as soon as you see Twitch and make it hard for him to hit.
Philip going in after Bjergsen here knows that Bjerg does not have that stopwatch anymore. There is an ulti for Bjergsen, I do believe, but finally gonna pop that one now. Philip misses Q2. Still chasing after him. Come on, somebody's got to get this kill. Philip dashes in. There you go. Philip grabs himself a kill on Bjerg.
Takes him a minute, but they get the kill. There's no counterplay to be had on the other side of the map, so it's not really a big deal whatsoever. TL pushes up top side, but toucouille is there to actually answer. They knew Bwipo's TP was down, so there was no sort of response that was going to be coming through. We'll see it. Oh, nice barrel chain.
Yep. Not a whole ton of damage coming out of it. Josedeodo is going in, and aphromooo's right beside him. Immediate pop on Hansama, and there's the gold we were looking for in Johnson's pocket.
Just a really nice gank there. Hansama never saw him, didn't have a big time to react. He was knocked up into Rakan, into dead, so dies with both summoner spells, but really had no time at all to react.
It's interesting, because it is a good kill, but at the same time, I'm kind of questioning, was that even worthwhile to spend 2 flashes for no summoners and 1 kill with no objectives up? And that is kind of the concern here. With 2 minutes onto this dragon, you want to be able to move towards Soul Point. True. And now there'll be no flash on Aphro, no flash on Josedeodo. Hans will have both sums and will be really tough to take down.
That is a good point. I would say because the kill is on to Twitch, probably, because getting him to 4 items is so important, but that's very apt to be proven wrong if Team Liquid wins this 3rd Dragon fight, because the soul point is a very important objective to move towards. It's still going to be hard for Team Liquid to get the waves pushing in the right way so they can move in first. They currently do have the waves. It'll be interesting to watch the next minute and 40 seconds to see if FlyQuest can retake.
Well, you can see FlyQuest coming back out of the base now. Control wards in inventory in a lot of places here. Josedeodo, Johnsun, aphromoo, all buying up some of those, ready to fight for this vision, try to get control over this bottom side river, put themselves in a good spot. The Drake will spawn post 20 minutes, so Baron will also be available. If this fight happens to go completely wild, there is always an option for something to be followed up with that. Team Liquid setting in this bush, though, waiting to see just maybe if FlyQuest will get a little bit too brave in terms of their vision application. They're sweeping, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen here just yet. toucouille down here in bottom lane, but backing up as he sees Bjergsen show up down here. Nice little bit of poke through the wall. aphromoo gets hit by that, but can immediately exit with the grand entrance. And Team Liquid maintains control over the bot side river. 60 seconds to go.
They do have control in this area, and all the vision has been kind of cleared out. You can see there's nothing from FlyQuest in this entire section of the map, but you lose mid control, and it's still 50 seconds until the dragon spawns. There's quite a lot of time. Philip's actually on that top side turret. You know, TL have both their soul laners on the bottom tier 1, trying to get one of their own. And FlyQuest also cheating up towards Baron, so willing to at least threaten that they could try to start this.
And one thing I also want to point out here, because it goes with what Jatt was talking about earlier, talking about some the ways that the Swain can work in these fights. He's got Ghost, thanks to Summoner's Spellbook. So when they go in, if they don't have that proper engage from aphromoo, from Josedeodo, Bjergsen's ability to navigate around in these fights and just keep that ulti going and keep the DPS maximized, it could be very scary.
Also really big that he completed his Zonias. You know, that coming through is such a big deal. And now FlyQuest are moving in here. TP is already coming in early from Bjergsen, trying to help them maintain vision. They want to force FlyQuest to walk through this Swain, which makes the claw very powerful.
But it was so important, actually, that Team Liquid, about a minute ago, used both Gangplank and Swain to kill that bottom turret, because it gave them control of at least enough of the map to move in for this dragon. So really nicely done to pick up that dragon from a 3,000 gold deficit.
Team Liquid outmaneuvers them. FlyQuest now on a 2-1 Drake lead, and I feel like we don't really have any reason for anyone to be demanding a fight now with that dragon having passed, and it's only just now past 20 minutes. You don't normally see Barons that early, so where can we kind of expect the next big moment to be? Is it 5 minutes from now on Drake number 4?
I think it's very likely around that, or it's around FlyQuest trying to make another pick, right? You know, we've seen them go for those a number of times, you know, trying to pick people off in the side lanes, trying to pick off, you know, Zeri here in the mid lane. They're the ones that really have the ability to actually start these plays off aggressively, so it's just really up to if they can find a beneficial situation. You know, Johnsun now has his Kraken, he's got the Zeal, so he's closing in on the Hurricane. That 3-item spike is very big. The 4 is going to be even bigger with his IE. But at the very least, FlyQuest was able to get, you know, a bit of a gold advantage from TL taking that dragon on the bot side. You know, they pushed up top, they took the tier 1 tower. Yes, that was traded back, but they stole away some camps, so they got a little bit of extra farm. So they are sitting, you know, in a pretty big gold advantage at this point.
And also the item advantage. Like, we saw them complete 3 big items right in a row. It was Death Dance, and also the Shirelias from Rakan. So they didn't have those when that last dragon was happening. To answer your earlier question, I think it's going to be 3.5 minutes until, well, 3 minutes until the next fight. But it could very well be a catch like this.
I think they just made a liar out of you, my friend. Hansama face checking a brush with Philip waiting on him. Johnsun flashes in, trying to chase, but that was not the right choice. CoreJJ destroyed as they catch him instead. Santorin now going to be in trouble, has to flash up the wall. aphromoo trying to get in with the quickness, but right back out. Bjergsen coming in, seeing if maybe there's some sort of a counterpunch to be found, but toucouille is also on the flank. They find Shane's over the wall. Bwipo's gonna get brought back, but he flashes away. toucouille jumps in, and he finds Hansama. Bwipo won't laugh, and Bjergsen is draining nobody but the red buff. FlyQuest just got 3.
toucouille played that so well, going over the wall, bursting down this area, then snapping back to his W in the red pit. Bjergsen pops the ulti to try to answer him there, and then he R's back over the wall again to be able to break his ankles. They get the kill. They're gonna take the Baron here as well. FlyQuest looking great. TL trying to move over here to
TL doesn't want to give this up.
But there's no flash on Santorin. There's no ult on Bjergsen.
Well, Bjergsen at least still does have his stasis. Josedeodo jumping in there, seeing if they can have any sort of success in this. FlyQuest is going to be scared away from the Baron. They have low health bars. They don't have a lot of resources left. FlyQuest disengages.
That, to me, should not have stopped Baron. That was a very weak try by TL there, but then FlyQuest was like almost overzealous to never let it get stolen and try to pick up a kill. But they could have actually just stayed hitting Baron and then turned once it got close, because Santorin had no way of knowing what was inside. But this play itself, a huge win for FlyQuest.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Johnsun opening up here on Hansama, pushing him right into Philip. Flash away, exhaust already used there by Hans. The TP comes in from Bwipo after his ulti, but then Josedeodo gets in onto Core, absolutely deletes him.
And we're gonna get to see the LeBlanc play coming up shortly as to re-engage. Philip was actually someone who did the most work in this fight in terms of overall damage. There's also a 1v1 going on live right now in the bottom lane, which we're gonna cut to.
Well, we got Bwipo trying to get away as Josedeodo arrives first, but Santorin's looking to join in this one as well. Bwipo can disengage it with the power of those barrel slows and the movement speed bonus that he gets out of danger.
And just looking at this game right now, yes, FlyQuest is still in control. The Twitch is going towards a critical mass moment, but if FlyQuest end up not winning this game, I think that pull off of Baron will be the moment that broke, because I feel like if they get that Baron, they'd have so much control and really probably won this game.
I agree. I mean, they overcommitted to the turn too early, because you didn't have Rakan ult, you didn't have Wukong ult. Your turn is not that powerful. You needed to let TL actually walk all the way up, then just turn and kill. I mean, Santorin had no flash, they knew that, so it's not like you can just wander into the pit and just smite it in your face. So I do think they should have stayed more heavily on the Baron, but they made the call, turn for it, and do get punished.
Well, fortunately, gentlemen, this series of events has made those 3.5 minutes of what we were assuming was going to be downtime very exciting. And now we are almost back up to the point where we expected the next fight to be. Here with 20 seconds until the Drake spawns, it's FlyQuest who have players and wards in the bottom side river.
And now you have to look at Hans missing flash here, while flash ulti is available on Afro. So there is the ability to try to dive into the backline. Bjergsen also really powerful double summoner setup right now. Barrier Ignite is very, very nice here. Both to kind of cut down on a lot of the healing, but also keep himself alive.
Hans is missing flash, but he's also missing an item.
Yeah.
Johnsun has
Also
a whole
important.
other item. So this is a Drake that actually Philip is just taking by himself, and we're seeing a possible cross map by TL, but not much doing. Bwipo might be able to steal that with a barrel if
Yeah, you can see
Philip's not careful.
he's placing the barrels over the wall.
Oh, he failed his chain.
Oh, no!
Pin away, pin away, pin away. Close your eyes, you didn't see that.
Johnson's ready to try to make a move out of this. Johnsun unloading! Rat-a-tat-tat, fire the gas! Bwipo is down!
Cut the video.
That's a rough one. That's one of those moments that you want to forget real quick. Fail the barrel chain, get solo killed by Twitch. You really hate to see it happen.
No, that was a series of unfortunate events for the Team Liquid top laner. FlyQuest is loving it. They're on soul point. They're the ones who just got more money on that Twitch. That, as you guys are saying, hey, he's 3 items. Runaan's Hurricane is done. Next one's Infinity Edge, and that's the game breaker.
It really is. I mean, with the engage that they have right now, here's another one onto CoreJJ. No one is in range to follow, though.
Yeah, Core will get away from that one. It's kind of just ulti trade for ulti trade there. Josedeodo spending the Cyclone, CoreJJ losing the Wild Growth. Neither one of those having incredibly long cooldowns, so I don't feel like this will be super consequential. It still might square off a little bit further, though. Team Liquid really wanting to fight back for some control over this river, but little bit of a jump over the wall for toucouille to try to grab some poke. 1-0-2 here on the LeBlanc, 0-2-2 for Bjergsen Swain as Bjergsen face checks the brush, eats a little bit of damage, goes into the ulti, so FlyQuest are backing off, not wanting to immediately engage into that massive zone of control, but it's toucouille into the back line, finding a ton of damage onto Hansama. CoreJJ, remember, no wild growth. Bjergsen gonna get rooted there by the chain, but they do not have the tools to follow up. Everybody walks away.
This is such a hard game for Team Liquid to play in the current state. It's like they're just hoping that FlyQuest drastically over-engage, but FlyQuest is doing a really good job of not overcommitting. Like, Jakoi just there, in a couple buttons, procs Hansama's shield bow. They also get the ultimate out of Bjergsen and haven't really committed that much themselves.
And I mean, so much of the power when you are playing champions like Swain and Lulu is having this extended duration in the fight, where Lulu's getting multiple rounds of shields out, where Swain is able to really be extremely durable, keep that ult up for a long time. But when you are this far down against multiple burst champions, you just never get to that second round of shielding. You never really are able to have enough of that sustain. So we'll have to see if TL can kind of withstand this storm. But Twitch from this far ahead just never kind of stops running you over.
Yeah, and it's almost a counterintuitive thing for FlyQuest because they've gotten to this point by making aggressive plays. Johnsun has snuck around, tried to go for solo kills. aphromoo is looking for engages. But, like, just wait. Just wait the 2.5 minutes and get the Ocean Soul, because then the game becomes so much easier. I think Team Liquid, they can't push the waves very well. They're just hoping that Twitch overextends somewhere.
Oh, Josedeodo already after him, looking to flash to continue the chase. R2 ready to go, and with Hans in the dirt through both subs, FlyQuest is loving it.
Alternative suggestion. Don't listen to my suggestions and just kill Hansama and go for Baron.
Joshua Jatt Leesman is not responsible for the actions that may result from you listening to the opinions of Joshua Jatt Leesman. Now we've got FlyQuest going after the Baron. They've got it down to 4K.
BLT is hurting.
Team Liquid coming in, trying to stop it. Santorin looking to challenge. Johnson's going to be taken to half HP.
Oh, no!
Bjergsen with the shutdown, and FlyQuest will crumble. aphromoo tries to find something, but Bjerg's going to make it a double. And with that play, Bjergsen breaks 2,200 kills in the LCS, and they break FlyQuest back.
Just like that, FlyQuest have been playing such a good game all game long. Try to do the Baron on top of the GP ulti. Everyone comes in from TL, stacking up for that perfect fight. FlyQuest missing key ultimates there. TL just erase them.
Rawcat flipped the switch replay for FlyQuest tragedy of Baron. Look at that GP ultimate. That's the big thing. It takes everyone to half health. And then Bjergsen plus the pillar make it so they can't run. That's the only way TL can get a fight.
Yeah, that's a rough one too. I mean, Johnsun in the GP ulti. Santorin comes in, pillars him. He flashes away from the Trundle into the Swain ultimate. There's no escaping that. And the wheels just completely fall off. I mean, it went from a 4,000 went from a 4,000 gold lead to nothing with your opponents having the Baron. And now, can you even actually fight for this soul? It is so rough all of a sudden. You know, FlyQuest's work has just been immediately erased.
They were in so much control. They thought the pick was going to be the Baron, but if they just wait for the Ocean Soul...
Oh, look at Johnsun, though, wrapping around.
They're going to go for it. He's on a control ward, though.
Oh, Johnson's got to get out of there. Hansama goes for him. But now FlyQuest, they want to try to turn it around. Hansama's going to be taking some damage, but into the middle of everybody. Josedeodo looking to make the plays. Johnsun running out of ulti time here. Philip needs to heal up a little bit further. He's going to die to Hans. Johnson's going to pop. FlyQuest have absolutely crumbled.
Santorin lived with no health there. They couldn't quite finish him off. The stopwatch on Santorin, the Zonia's on Bjergsen, completely changing that fight, and now TL on the push here. Bjergsen TP's to bot. They'll deny the soul here. The Let's Go Liquid cheers erupt, and TL on the march.
Team Liquid is just galloping over them now. FlyQuest, they have lost their opportunity at the soul. They have lost their gold lead. They have lost control over the map. Everything just crashing down in these last couple of minutes after one mistake, one call to go for a Baron that they shouldn't have gone for. Team Liquid's punish is massive, and the momentum is not slowing.
I mean, this is like a 6-7K gold swing in, what, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It just absolutely fell off a cliff. If they can stabilize here, they still have opportunities in this game. You know, Johnsun has got to be getting close to the IE here. He has enough for his crit cloak, so he just needs enough for the combine. You know, so give him another minute or two, he'll be there. We can watch this one more time. Look at this pink ward from CoreJJ. Just kind of perfect. Assumes that Johnsun may be coming from that angle. They go in, but it looks like they were going to be able to turn it around. They just can't quite burst them down here.
Yeah, you can see...
Oh, that Wild Growth was so good. It denied Afro on the entrance.
Yeah, Afro never actually got to charm Hans.
And then Johnsun does open up a lot, but 2 stopwatches at just the right time, so it stops him from being able to hit. Also, toucouille can't actually finish off Santorin either, and since Johnsun is sticking around waiting to hit, thinking it's a one fight, he dies as well. So it was about the 1,500 to 2K gold before the Baron went down, a 4,500 gold Baron power play, and a delayed soul. But still, when Twitch hits IE, he's going to still have so much power. But I guess there's a stopwatch on Bjergsen always because of Zhonya's and a fresh stopwatch on Hans Sama. So it will be hard for FlyQuest to get those executes because all TL wants is long fights.
Yeah, it buys them the time for those extra rounds of shielding to come out, for the extra little bit of sustain to come out there. You can see Gangplank Chainsword, already bought up there from Jose, and Executioner's up there onto Philip. Johnsun really close to IE Gold if he doesn't already have it already. He's heading back to base, so he must have it, I'm assuming. And that was just such a close fight. I cannot give enough credit to CoreJJ for the timing on that wild growth to actually knock Afro out of his engage.
Yeah, that was sick.
If Hans gets caught up there, I think Hans just dies at the start of the fight, and maybe they can just run them over because they had to commit so much extra to try to kill Hans on the backside of the fight. toucouille coming in, Jose going around, kind of giving their HP and their cooldowns to try to finish someone off that would have already been dead there. So just really well played by Core. The timing on that is so critical.
We've got 2.5 minutes until that next Drake shows up. FlyQuest with the Infinity Edge on Twitch. They always have that ace in the hole, no matter what else happens. If Twitch gets the right moment to just free fire for 2 or 3 seconds, you win the team fight. But Team Liquid have found themselves in such a better position than they were 10 minutes ago.
Absolutely, and with with the luxury items coming through, I mean, Anathemas, that's going to be on Twitch for sure, so that's going to reduce his tenacity. There are the stopwatches as well that could buy that time. Philip could be in trouble, and Johnsun as well.
Santorin's going in for him. Johnsun, however, he has his team nearby. He still has to flash away. The subjugate is burning. Johnson's going to be saved by the shield, but FlyQuest have to fall back. They don't have their AD carry ready to fight. Team Liquid, they have this Twitch figured out.
And they got his flash as well, so it's not even about waiting for the soul. They're just going in for more.
toucouille, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Hansama gets the kill. 5v4, Team Liquid.
Bjergsen got him over the wall with the claw, and then the polymorph there to follow up. He could not get out. Ends up going down here, and now on the push, if they can dive on a Johnsun, he's no ult, no flash, they can look to end potentially.
No Twitch ulti with a numbers advantage in the first place. Josedeodo nearly going to be killed. Bwipo just going in. He gets a killing spree. Team Liquid losing for 25 minutes, and then they win in 10. They will take down FlyQuest and get their dub.
Back-to-back claws from Bjergsen. Catches toucouille over the wall to set that up, to get the kill there. Then the final kill they need on Twitch. He nails the claw on him as well. Pulls him in, and with no flash, there is no way out. TL turned this game on its head. It was all FlyQuest for so long, but that Baron fight changed everything for TL.
That's what you look back at in the VOD. That's the moment you go to because that's what changed the game.
Multiple moves at Baron actually for FlyQuest. The first Baron, they peeled off early instead of finishing it. The second Baron, they probably shouldn't have gone to it at all, but throughout it, Team Liquid was able to minimize their losses. They were on the back foot for so much of that game, did not have engage tools, but then as soon as something does break their way, they absolutely make the most of it, and they never allowed FlyQuest to recover.
Absolutely, and once FlyQuest was no longer kind of monstrously ahead, you saw how powerful the TL composition can be. When you can't get that initial kill, whether it is because of shielding or peeling, or whether it is because of a critical stopwatch on Santorin in that jungle fight, or the zone is there for Bjergsen, they need that initial kill to really be able to win these fights on FlyQuest side. They spend all their cooldowns. TL's damage is not going to slow down. It's actually going to ramp up here with Zeri stacking up the ulti, with that Swain ulti staying on. It's just so tough.
And I liked how well you called it, because I think it was within 5 minutes of you saying, this game just feels so rough for Team Liquid to play from this state. You're basically praying for FlyQuest to make the wrong call.
That's all they were waiting for. And there was 2.5 minutes for Ocean Soul. I told FlyQuest to just calm down. They get a kill, and I'm like, oh, that's why they're not calming down. And like 20 seconds later, they lose the game.
Yeah.
So League of Legends is tricky. It's very tricky when you're in the moment to be able to have like enough patience to know that they could. I think they just win the game if they wait for the Ocean Soul, and if they don't go for that Baron. But there's a lot of games that they'll win by looking for picks, going for Baron. The other team will FF and chat as soon as the Baron gets taken because they're playing a scrim and it's over. But that's not the game we're playing on stage here, and Team Liquid, with the experience, pulls through.
I mean, honestly, I'm still really impressed with what we got to see from FlyQuest for the first 25 minutes or so of this game.
Yeah.
Johnsun on the Twitch is proving to be a problem again and again. FlyQuest knows how to use these invisibility windows with Twitch, with Wukong. Like, we talk about the catch on Hansama in mid lane, where it's just like, yeah, he never got to see anything coming because Wukong and Twitch can both just appear out of nowhere.
Well, and I think a lot of teams, you know, credit to TL for being able to capitalize on the mistakes from FlyQuest and pull that game back. But I think if FlyQuest play that game out versus most other teams in the league, like, that's just a comfortable win, right?
Yep.
So I do think that they can be happy with what they turned in for the most part. Of course, some really key points where they did kind of fall apart. But I think overall, they've had a pretty successful weekend, and I think a good bounce back from how they looked last week, you know, with the win yesterday and a near win here today against TL.
Yeah, people are definitely going to have to start respecting their comfort picks. People are going to have to start saying, like, okay, they want to play Invis. They want to play this ambush style that also has really powerful team fighting. And Johnsun is showing that you just can't keep leaving Twitch open. We're living in a meta where we're seeing marksman bans, tons of them, usually like 4 of them in the first 6 bans. If Twitch isn't getting banned against Johnsun, you're probably inting draft a little bit because he's doing good on Twitch. But now it's time for High to go pro to pro with Team Liquid Honda's Santorin.
Hey, we're coming. Hey everyone, I have Santorin here. Congratulations on the win. You know, 2 weeks from now, you're probably not gonna remember how you won, but you will remember you won. So that's a dub, you know?
Yeah.
So I have some questions and some clips for you first off. I'm basically curious, when you're playing jungle, when do you decide where you're gonna path? Because I'm watching you here. Are you deciding right away, or do you decide after you see where the enemy jungler started?
So this is a tricky one because we actually thought they could have leashed both sides. Because Twitch and Rakan also came very late to lane.
So you weren't sure where he started when you looked up there?
I'm actually not sure where he started because I have a feeling he's gonna path down because Aatrox stayed for a long time and also just makes more sense in the game. But usually you decide pathing as you're loading into the game because you'll ask who has power in the different lanes, and you can kind of like decide from there. And then also sometimes a certain matchup will be super volatile, and then you like make a path happen to like go to that place. So usually like I've already like kind of pre-planned my path, unless I get some kind of info level 1 that, then I have to adapt and change it.
Gotcha. So obviously, since you started top and you made your game plan to path down here, were you expecting the fight here with you being pushed so far up bot? You seemed a bit surprised at this, so can you tell me about...
So I'm surprised because, we didn't really call that Rakan is moving first. So I should also flash out with the second W's here. That was a mistake. But, I know they're mid prior. I know we've had bot prior, and the thing that caught me off guard here is the fact that their support was moving first, because I was expecting we're bot prior. I'm calling them, playing it through bot. I will also say if FlyQuest played slightly better and LeBlanc is like hovering river a lot earlier, I think I might not even be able to enter for bot scuttle. In that case, either I'd have to go top scuttle or golems. But it's just the way toucouille was playing mid lane. Like you can see, he's like literally in the middle of the lane. So I feel comfortable walking into river, assuming my bot lane can move.
Right, you guys are pushed up bot.
Yeah, so I will fight Wukong and move down in river, like fight down, and then it should be a winning fight.
Gotcha. It's quite unfortunate that happened. Sometimes comms just aren't there, right?
Yeah, and then obviously I misplayed. I should just flash out, and worst case is just I lose 1 flash, and the game is still very good. But I didn't flash, so sorry, bot lane.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they forgive you, right? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
So my next clip here, I have a Rift Herald player, and I'm basically curious, on your team, who is the ones that's deciding to do this Rift Herald? Obviously, you can talk about this later, whether it's a good or a bad Herald, but I'm just curious about who's deciding this call in the first place, like just in general.
So
who does Rift Herald
it's kind of like a mixed, like it kind of everyone kind of decides at the moment. So for example, like we'll call who has priority, who can move first, and then if we feel strong in the 3-3 top side, then we'll usually feel very confident just fight like that. But sometimes you have to have bot lane rotate, and it's kind of like on bot lane to call when they're moving first. But in this fight, it kind of just got like too separated. I'd prefer to fight around the herald and not be moved up to top, because then the eye is getting pushed in a position where I actually can't auto smite it.
Right, he's jumped in.
Yeah, he can just auto smite it. But I think if we, played more like a ball and walked like a long way to herald, we'd probably have a better fight, because we should be stronger here. It's just like we'll be winning the fight no matter what. It's just like making sure we actually get the herald as well.
Gotcha. So it's like pretty much a team call. What like the collective when you guys decided your herald. Okay, cool. So then my last clip is it's 29 minutes into the game. You guys have kind of been getting dumpstered a little bit for like most of the game. However, you come into this fight 4v5. How confident are you winning the fight, or is it kind of like a YOLO fight here at this point?
It's pretty much a YOLO fight. I mean, it's kind of like do or die at this point. I feel like if they play well, we'll lose. but you know, luckily they didn't play well, so we win. But in general, it's kind of like, I mean, the game was in a very dire state. It kind of feel like we're not actually hitting item spikes that'll like win us the game. So I kind of just feel like they're, you know, they could do anything they wanted in the game. I also feel like, you know, with the lead they had, we should have lost. You know, that's why this win doesn't feel like a win to me, because, you know, they can literally anytime have Twitch just run bot lane, take bot tower. Like they have so many options. Luckily, we just kind of outplayed them at the Baron fight, or, you know, we probably lost.
So gotcha. So when you're coming at this fight then, and you're kind of like YOLOing, are you trying to YOLO to like trade the 50-50 Baron, or are you trying to take the fight? Like, are you saying, hey, let's go for the fight, or are you saying, hey, let's go for the steal? I
think that kind of comes down to how they play it. So like in this case, they actually went on me, which means they're not playing to finish the Baron. But if they're finishing the Baron, they're positioning very defensively. Maybe I can, you know, flash smite. But in general, it kind of depends how they're, you know, initially turning. So they're turning at 3k here, which means it's gonna be a fight no matter what. So in this case, it kind of is like the being just versatile in the moment. And if they give me an opportunity to smite steal, I'll smite steal. Yeah.
Gotcha, awesome. Well, that's all I have for you here today. Is there anything else you want to say about this game?
Yeah, I mean, we'll take the dub, but there's definitely a lot of improvements that we have to make. But we'll come back stronger.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me on Pro to Pro, Santorin. And that's it for us. We're gonna toss y'all to break.
Yeah, that's the most I can give you.
Fine. Then it's time for the ace up my sleeve. My beloved squishy pig with
original holographic cover art. Hey, Ash, what you selling?
Save the references, Jake from State Farm. I'm saying goodbye. This little piggy went to the game store.
You don't have to sell your favorite games. State Farm has coverage options, so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Thanks, Jake. Hands off the squish.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.